Hello once again, good evening. You are welcome to today's online facilitation class. I believe that our day so far has been going well. Today is the 7th week and next week will be the last week of facilitation, and we'll be rounding up with Unit 5, which we started last week. Remember last week we looked at Unit 5, which is titled Health Resources Monitoring and Evaluation. And so today we will be rounding up that Unit 5 of NSC 303, right? So, and next week, when we meet, it's just to interact based on question and answer. That is basically because I know next week is also your exam, if I'm right. So maybe next week or upper week, I'm not sure now. So next week is just basically for question and answer. So if you have question and answer, so just put it together when we meet next week, which will be our last meeting, our last class for this semester. So that's what we'll basically be doing next week by God's grace. So, and if you do have any question for me, just put it that is related to what we have covered so far. Kindly just jot it down. We will meet next week for interaction and question and answer. That is what we're going to be looking at. So today in our facilitation, as I've earlier mentioned, that we are looking at Unit 5, Part 2. We started Part 1 of it last week. Today in Part 2, basically, we'll be looking at evaluation of health services. Evaluation of health services. That is what we'll be looking at today. Evaluation of health services. So, evaluation of health services is what we be looking at. And what is the learning goal for sorry about that. Okay. So basically, under part B of evaluate of Unit 5, what are we going to look at? The few concepts we want to look at. Let me just share my screen on that. Yes. So I said Part 2, evaluation of health service, and the learning goal we have basically to explain the action that is required to develop monitoring and evaluation process as part of managerial process. And those are the steps we want to look at. So I'm not going to reiterate definition of evaluation, because last week when we met, we looked at it. Maybe I will ask one of the students to kindly share with us what he or she understands by evaluation, definition of evaluation. Let's reason together. So who wants to share with us? What do you understand by evaluation? I can see we have a lot of new faces today. Let me welcome you to our class, even though it's towards the end of the semester. Thank you. So you can send your answer. You want to respond? Okay, Victoria, you may go ahead. Let's share your thoughts. Welcome, Victoria.
Oh, thank you. In hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Evaluation is a process by which results are compared with the objectives with your own objectives.
Yes.
In
Yes.
every sector, there is an objective which you want to evaluate at the end of the program. Just for you to compare the results. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. You may lower your electronic end. That is it. When you are doing a project, you set an objective or you set goals that you want to achieve at the end. Maybe at the end of 1 year or at the end of 2 years, maybe at the end of 5 years. This is what we hope to achieve. So probably maybe after 2 years, you want to have an evaluation. So Nancy, please, can you kindly mute yourself if you are not responding? Let me just. So you want to do, there are stages of evaluation which we will look at as we progress into this lesson. So you want to look at it, you have evaluation that you will do intermittently, you have the one that you will do as outcome, probably after there is a lot of background noise. There is a lot of background noise from you, Owolabi, please. We are in class. And Faith. Okay, all right. As I was saying, that we have different stages of evaluation and as a different period that you do this evaluation. When we met last week, we looked at the element of evaluation and who would like to remind us what those elements are, the elements of evaluation, just a way of reminding ourselves before we go into the general steps of evaluation. Okay, Ioma, you may speak.
Okay, we have 7 elements of evaluation.
Okay.
They are as follows. The evaluation must be relevant.
Yes.
It must be adequate.
Absolutely.
It must be accessible. Acceptable.
Yes.
Effective. It must be efficient. And finally, it must have impact on what you are doing. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you very much for sharing your understanding on that area, the element of evaluation. As she just mentioned, those are the elements of evaluation, and she's very correct on that. And the next thing that we want to look at now is the steps of evaluation. What are the steps that we take during evaluation? And I'm just going to share my slide on that to show you, to share with you the general steps of evaluation. Basically, we have two. We have 2 steps that we take during evaluation. One is to determine what to use for evaluation. That is, determine what is to be used to be evaluated. That is, now if I'm evaluating the manpower, what measures do I need to evaluate this manpower? That is what is looking at. And the next one is to establish standards. So basically, we have two general steps of evaluation: determinant of what is to be evaluated and establishment of standard, excuse me, an establishment of standard to be used. You want to know what standard is to be used or what scale is to be used. And when we say to determine what is to be evaluated, what do we mean by that? Under that point alone, we have three points. And what are they? The three types of evaluation that you will do when you need to determine what is to be evaluated are what?
One, the structure,
Yes.
the process,
yes,
and the outcome.
yes, excellent. The structure, the process, and the outcome. So when we now say the structure, just as you can see on the screen now, you are evaluating the facility itself, the equipment that is in the facility, because now we are talking in the context of PAC, and we were looking at the manpower, the organization itself. And when we say organization itself, that is the all settings. Then you want to ask, do they meet the standard, the acceptable standard? Who even determine this acceptable standard? They are experts. We have experts in different professions in different areas. That is it when it comes to structure. What about process? In process, we look at the medical care that is given, the process of recognizing the illness that people complain, the diagnostic process, the treatments, and the clinical management of the whole system, how it's being carried out. At the end of the day, you want to assess, does patient, as in, do patient get satisfaction on the kind of care that they receive when they come to the clinic? Those are the things that you look at. And the last point there is establishment of standard and criteria. And when you say establishment of standard and criteria, what is it expected? You look at the criteria or the standard or the measures that is used or must be used, because it depends on what you are evaluating that will determine what measure, what scale, what criteria you're going to use to determine if your desired objectives have been attained. And we understand that naturally standards are a prerequisite for evaluation. Take, for instance, I'm trying to look for a scenario to use to paint the picture so nice in your mind. Like if you say pain, how do you measure if a patient after orthopedic surgery experience pain or not? You can't just say, no, they don't have pain. You can't just say, or you set an objective or an hypothesis that, no, patients who undergo bone surgery would have pain. How do you know? There has to be a measure that you can use to test your hypothesis that will either give you yes or no. So the same thing when it comes to evaluation, you are evaluating. Any questions so far? Any question? Any question? And during the evaluation, what do we look at? What do we do, I mean, during evaluation? We do a lot of things when we are evaluating. And one is you want to gather information, gathering of information. You gather information in relation to what you have said. If I'm looking for manpower, if I want to evaluate the manpower, so I'll start gathering information. How many nurses are employed in this facility? How many doctors are employed? What is the ideal number of nurses and doctors that should be in a facility? So we start from there. So you start gathering information. What about the experience? What about the competency, the skills? What about the lab scientist? What about the pharmacist, and so on and so forth? So that's one point where you look at, where you gather information, you collect information, just like in research. Then after collecting this information, what do? You analyze the results. You've gotten your information, which we know as raw data. You have your raw data. Now you want to analyze it. You want to analyze this information, the result that you have gotten. And don't forget, your gathering of information is based on the objectives that you have set. So, and the analysis, you now interpret. You do an interpretation of the data, and you give feedback to all individuals concerned. And while you are giving feedback after your interpretation, is for them to take action on whether to improve, to enhance, or what needs to be amended. And the last point is you take action. And that is the essence of giving feedback. So that this evaluation, this is the result. And truly you want to check, is it productive? So where should our emphasis be? So those are the things that you would do. Any questions so far from what I have shared? Okay. Now, I want someone to kindly share with us the structural criteria. The structural criteria. What criteria do we check under? Okay. Go ahead, Ioma.
In structural criteria, we look for physical facilities and the equipment. That is the structure in that area. So okay, we look for those things. Physical facilities. Like to know if the facility have enough structure, or if they are jam-packed, if there is enough of equipment to carry out certain procedures in that facility. Okay.
Another thing we also look at, any other person with another thoughts? Okay. Another thing is the process criteria, just as we have structural criteria, which Ioma just mentioned now, and she gave us an example. That an example of structural criteria is the physical facilities and the equipment. What about process criteria? In process criteria, what are the examples of process criteria? What do we evaluate during process? You look at the service that you want to provide, what is expected of the consumer and the healthcare giver. An example is every prenatal woman, that is when a woman sees that she's pregnant and she comes to the clinic, must receive 6 check-up. That's the process. Then you want to see, are they meeting not the requirement this time around? Are they receiving the service, both the quality and the quantity? Do they have that 6 times checkup before the delivery? 1. 2, when they come, the kind of service that they also give to them, what is the quality of it? So that is a process criteria. What about the outcome criteria? From the word outcome, what can you say about it? What can you say about outcome criteria? Who wants to share with us? What can you say about outcome criteria? Okay. Rebecca, are you raising? Yes, I've even do that with the reason. Rebecca, is your hand up? You're welcome to share your thoughts. Okay. Okay, Susan. If you can hear us, Susan, you may go ahead. Rebecca, we are not.
Can you hear me?
Okay, yes, we can hear you now, Rebecca. After
okay,
Rebecca, Susan, you can talk.
When we talk about the outcome criteria, we are trying to look at the final result from these services that was rendered.
Okay.
Are the people satisfied over the services that was rendered? Are they happy over the services that was rendered? Do they have any complaints that they want to put in or report any complaint that they experienced in the process of these services that was rendered to them? So that is the outcome criteria. Because when they are satisfied, then you will now know that yes, the services you render to them is of value to the people.
Okay, thank you so much. That's a very brilliant contribution. Thank you, Susan. Let's hear your thoughts on that as well. Thank you very much, Rebecca. Susan, your electronic okay.
That was actually what I wanted to explain.
Okay.
Nothing.
Okay. All right then. Yes, just as the way they have put it. Yes, you want to assess the service that is being provided to the clients, and are they satisfied with it, and so on and so forth. Then we want to look at another point, which is planning the method, the methodology or the method. In methods or in methodology, you want to look at, okay, what method, or what format are we going to use to evaluate? You want to prepare, you want to gather the information. So, briefly, that is what evaluation of health services has for us for this week. And basically, we have come to the end of the class and come to the end of the course so far, because in NSC 303, we basically have 5 units in it. and we've covered it. So next week when we meet, we'll just recap all that we have gone through. Then we'll ask questions, and it's going to be question and answer and interaction. So the floor is open for any questions. Susan, you may speak.
Thank you, ma. By next week, we are starting our exams now.
Yes.
Yes.
We
When
can
are
use
we
these
starting
remaining
your exam?
minutes
You said
on Tuesday. On Tuesday.
on Tuesday.
Yes. So we might use these remaining minutes to round up certain things now.
Yeah. Yes, yes. I thought it's on 28th.
No, 25th.
28.
Is it 28
It's
or
28.
20, I think 28 is the day we have the paper. I think so.
It's 28.
It's 28.
It's
28.
28.
Yes,
Yes. You know, and because it's 8 weeks facilitation, and each facilitation must be uploaded on the page. So if I do everything and there is nothing next week, that means I won't have anything to post. You get?
Okay.
So even if, but another thing, another option that we can make is, even if it is to make to meet for maybe 10 minutes. So that last week is expected of me to meet with everyone and record it and send it to school, because the school also is monitoring. You get? Yeah. So based on that, I understand. But basically, except if you now want to give back to me or ask or have any question for me, then you're welcome to do that. Or otherwise, we are done for today, and let me start wishing you all the best in your papers. Just make sure,
Thank you.
I think this year, yeah, I was going through, so I had the privilege of going through some papers, but not from this course anyway. When you see exam question, don't panic. Read everything and always read instruction. Start with instruction. Pray, then look at it with what you know most. Start with the one that you know most. So, and don't leave any question unanswered. Even if it is few lines, few points, write it. So,
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Just thank you for your lectures. Hello.
We can hear you. We can hear you loud.
Okay. I'm just requesting that at least you help us with area of concentration. At least help us. I know you can do that.
Okay, I've heard you. Let's see what next week holds.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
If there is no other question, this is where we will leave it for today. I wish you all the best. Enjoy the
Thank you, ma.
hours of. Bye.